Good day, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. In this video it's going to be all about the aim. We talked about it in our previous video where we slightly touched upon the topic that aim is important. Of course it's important. You have to be able to take out your opponent before he takes you out. What we said was that it's very easy to get good aim, and we are going to prove that today in this video. I changed the camera a bit. If you are an avid viewer and you pay attention, you realize this is the same clothes and hairstyle as the previous video. That's because we are going off with a bang and releasing, I don't know, 3-4 videos at the same time. So if you are among the first to watch this, you have my eternal gratitude. Keep spreading the love if you find it useful. We are talking about aiming. So what are the key points, the bullet points in aiming? We said it was easy to learn, but what exactly is it that you are learning? Well, aiming is there's a few different factors. It's not just pointing your crosshair on enemy's head and hitting mouse 1. It's actually a bit more technical than that. The most important things when dealing with aiming is, of course, reaction time. Us FPS players or Counter-Strike players have the best, and I'm not kidding, we have the best reaction time of all human beings on this planet. We are better than every single fighter pilot ever lived. We are actually borderline superhuman when it comes to reaction time. So, knowing this, knowing that everyone has the same or has good reactions, how do you get even better? How do you get truly superhuman reaction times? We're gonna touch a little bit about that. We're gonna also brush up on muscle memory. What is it? How do you maintain it? How do you learn? And how do you develop your muscle memory? And this will be the only thing that actually is important in every single aspect of the game, and that is IQ. It's a very broad subject, but we are going to cover it nonetheless. And this here is really annoying me. There, I got it. Yes. So yeah, we're going to touch up on IQ, basically how you interpret and use the information that you are gaining in the game in order to beat your opponent, which is an indirect factor, but you make your aiming job a hell of a lot easier if you interpret all the information you get properly. Also, we are going to look at placement. How good placement saves you, how bad placement really screws you over, and how to hopefully tell you how you can tell if your placement was bad and how you can work on it. Basically, we are also going to cover the feel, what that is. It's basically how to spray, but we're not going to go very specific into that. We're going to cover a few myths, and lastly, I'm going to just basically show you how you get basically all of this in one little package. So let's jump back into the game, and we're going to start with reaction time. As I said, we have the fastest reaction time of all humans on this planet. Don't quote me on it. I don't have any. I haven't bothered to look up the Wikipedia page or the whatever that proves it. But it's a known fact that we have some of the fastest reaction times on the planet. So how do you improve it? Well, the easiest thing for me, as I discovered, was that I had a friend that was really good at Stepmania. And as I started to play Stepmania, no, I am a healthy man, so I don't dance on the dance mat on Dance Dance Revolution. I use my keyboard, which allows you to get some insane speeds on your keyboard. And when I first started, I really struggled. I felt really bad. But as I continued to play, I noticed that the songs that I struggled with early on, they became easier. And after doing about 3 weeks of Stepmania, my reaction time in game was considerably faster. I was able to take out opponents that normally own me. But it doesn't have to be Stepmania. It just have to be any fast-paced game where you have to react, and you have to react constantly. So Stepmania, or you know, like the game where you play the spaceship that dodges the audio surf. Is that it? A difficult, just play audio surf and get the more and more difficult songs. That will also help. Also, what's it called? Soundbeat? Biohazard is a game that could help, though it's a little more slow-paced. That's basically what you can do with your reaction time. As for muscle memory, what is it? Well, muscle memory is what helps you when you get shot in the back and you want to go quickly around and shoot him in the head. It's when you pre-aim here and there's already someone at box here, and you go like. Basically, it's when you have played so much that your arm, in your mind, knows exactly how much it has to move to go from here to here without you ever even thinking it. It's purely a reaction shot. I've seen people do 180 headshots constantly. Like, you could say, if I'm gonna shoot you in the back, you can do a 180 and shoot me in the head 9 out of 10 times. So it's not blind luck anymore. That's muscle memory. He knows exactly how far he has to push his mouse with his arm in order to shoot me in the head. And that's sort of what muscle memory does. Because sometimes you have to react so quickly that you can't actually tell your arm how far to move it, but the muscle knows how many pixels that represents. It sounds really strange, but you can try to work it out. There's a spray that you can download. I'm sorry, but I don't know if that works for Global Offensive. I actually haven't tried it, but you can download it from FPS Banana. It's called muscle memory spray, something like that. You just spray it on the wall and you go like this, from the center and out, and then like this, and you just keep doing that. And I used to do this like 30 minutes before an official. I used to just sit like that, because you know intuitively, if you do this say 15 minutes a day, you will get a huge improvement in your reaction shots. You won't get it like in the oh, I see this guy running over here, I have to shoot him. When he runs over here, I know he's gonna come. You won't get like any benefits there, but you are going to get a huge improvement in the. You see the notification on the right side of your screen that you're being shot from the right. You can possibly see him in the corner, and then you know just how much you have to move the mouse, and you will be like, oh, did I seriously take that shot? That was sick. But it's your muscle memory. It's insane. But muscle memory also comes from just playing a lot. And by doing the training exercise that I will get to at the very end, will also be allowing you to get muscle memory that way as well. The only no-no when it comes to muscle memory, if you are one of the people that really can't decide on what sensitivity you are playing on, you need to decide that before you start training your muscle memory or training your aim. The maximum you can go up or down is 0.25, and that's per month. If you want to double your sense, you gotta do 0.25 a month. because all your muscle memory is gone if you do change it more than that and more frequently than that. So therefore, decide on a sensitivity before you start this exercise, because it's gonna be a waste if you don't. Myself, I played with roughly the same sense for 6-7 years, and even I have the muscle memory, even though I haven't played Counter-Strike actively for 2 years. So it really helps just keep the same sensitivity. If it's way too low, of course you need to change it. And sometimes if you are experiencing that your sense is way too high or way too low, like say your sense is 5 and you feel like, oh, I gotta get a 2. You like try different senses out, and like 2, that's perfect for me. Fine, start with 2, but realize that you are starting from scratch when it comes to muscle memory. And we're gonna touch a bit on IQ. We're gonna use actually we are going to use B for this one. Yes, we are. I don't know if this works anymore. I gotta try it. No, it's gotta be this one. Okay, never mind. It doesn't really matter. IQ is basically how you interpret the information that you receive to decide when to. For instance, if you are standing like this, it's when you pop out. It decides when you pop out. And the information, it's how you use sound, shadows, and information from your teammates, and also your radar to determine when to pop out. Also, it could be just simply your intuition. And that's not really something that can be taught. It can be experience can teach you it. Can teach you that. Or you can just be smart. Basically, you want to give yourself every possible edge. You don't want to be flat in the middle, and he's flat in the middle here, and you just want to have a shootout. That's stupid. You want to give yourself every possible advantage to kill him. If you can stand at an easy angle and shoot him, which is a perfect transition to the next thing we're going to talk about, you want to do that, and you want to use the information above to give you the best possible placement in order to take out your opponent. And the last thing we want to talk about is placements. And I wanna touch on it very briefly. It's I'm gonna show a pretty good example. I'm gonna show 2 examples. It has to do with knowing the distance from you to your potential target in terms of the size of the gap you are aiming at. Let's say you for some reason are standing close here and you are aiming here. There's no human chance in hell you're gonna hit anyone if you're aiming here, simply because he's gonna run by so fast that there is no chance in hell that you're gonna be able to take him. If you on the other hand aim slightly, give yourself a slightly bigger gap, you give yourself more reaction time. Of course, there are some people, that myself included, pick this angle, either pick this angle or actually just jumps over it to prevent that auto headshot. But the more you play, the more you know your reaction time and you know the size of the gap you need. Also, if you know your opponent is far away, like so, you don't want to be standing here giving him that gap. You want to perhaps like just stand here, hit him a few times, then back off. It's about the way you win matches. We're gonna also be covering this later on, but the way you win matches is If you are able to deal, and it sounds very very simple, and it is very simple, but people forget it. If you deal more damage to your opponent than he does to you, you're gonna win. And it's brutally simple, but people forget it. For instance, 2 hits with M4, how much is that? 50 damage, something like that. That's half his health. Okay, so say you did that to one guy, and you hurt someone in mid, so you naded him, and you probably did like 30. And your mid player got him once or twice through the wall, and he got this guy once or twice through the wall. That means that they have like 15 HP left, you know? But again, you don't want to be so aggressive that you lose HP. So you gotta be smart. You gotta use that IQ to know when you are going to try to do some damage. And I say do some damage, not in terms of taking out 2 or 3 of their players. I'm just saying, take 30 HP. If you can take 20-30 HP every single round, you're gonna have an advantage every single round. And I'm not saying just do that, but if you can do 30 damage and not get taken and not take any damage, and you can do that to 1 or twice in a round, suddenly, and every player on your team does that, when they decide to do anything, they are all gonna have 20-30 HP and they are going to get slaughtered. It's that freaking simple. So you don't always have to get the one headshot. Of course that is preferable, and if you can do that, that's perfect. But if you can throw a nade or hex a door and just do damage without any damage taken, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. So for instance, on B, you have an AWPer who has from the CT side that is working, trying to get a good angle. What you could then do is you don't want to go so far out as he can attack you, but you want to throw in one nade. That is sure to do at least 30 damage. And then you can go, just try to be lucky. If you use 20 bullets trying to get 1 or 2 hits through those barrels or whatever, that's good, that's worth it. But you don't want to be in a position where you risk him hitting you. So that's basically a part of placement. Another part of placement is knowing how aggressive you should be in terms of your other players and where they are. That's also part of the information that we covered. Another part of bad placement is you always have to have an escape plan. Meaning that you don't see a lot of pit plays on if the guy on long is alone, because you cannot escape from here. The same thing goes for on B. You don't see a lot of people playing plateau simply because it's hard to get out of there. Frankly, when I play alone at B, I usually wind up often with this position, just trying to get this one off when they come, and then you can just throw one flash out of here and run out, wait for help, retake. Oftentimes I also like standing here just because you get a few shots off, and this angle, trust me, there is no person in hell that is going to run on this side ever. People don't run on this side for some messed up reason. They always stay either in the middle or to the side here, because they like this angle, and they feel that they can, when I get close, they can just peek this angle. But that leaves you incredibly vulnerable to window. So oftentimes you end up taking out AWPers just by sitting here and peeking this angle. Of course there are other positions, but the point being, you don't want to be in a position where you can't retreat fairly simple by just using a flash. Another great example is close on catwalk. If you are this close on catwalk and they stand here, you can't escape. It's win or die. But if you on the my mouse is acting up. If you stand on the ledger and just peek through here, you're gonna get a lot of shots in. Let's count just by 8 shots. You can get 8 shots on the target, basically meaning that ideally you can kill at least 2 people. 4 shots is a kill with a M4, if I'm not mistaken, unless you are very, very unlucky. And it's not a huge spread either. So anyone coming through here will get damaged, and you will not get damaged whatsoever. You can jump down, throw a flash, return to sights, and if they haven't crossed yet, you know that nade's gonna do damage if they are even close. You might even get someone from mid to just walk under here and listen, because if they can hear anyone, they are within doing damage of a nade distance. So it's just those little things, being able to just doing damage without sustaining any damage. Of course, there are insane people that will pre-shoot the corner, but then again, you can never count on that. So also, what I've actually been enjoying lately is standing way over here and using the sound to determine when to pop out. Because if they are heading towards here, what they usually end up doing is people run over here, check this thing, they stay on the side here, and then they start here. So if you hear steps here, you can definitely just wait a few seconds and hopefully not fall down. But you can easily get a kill here, and then just drop down. So that's placement. We should keep moving before I start talking about irrelevant stuff. Feel, yeah. Feel is basically in the olden days, and I mean really olden days, you had like with an AK, if you were spraying, this is where the head of your target should be, with a standard small size crosshair in something resolution, and this is where it should be with an M4. That's not how the crosshairs work anymore, because people have individual crosshair settings. Mine is totally wacko, to be honest, for spraying at least. Also picking targets off on a distance, but as you keep playing deathmatch and using the technique I'm going to explain at the end, you will basically start getting a better feel of the weapon and how it handles in bursts, extended burst, and spray. And what are the differences? Well, basically, let's just start a new game so I can get some ammunitions. A burst is basically 2 to 3 shot bursts. With the M4 I prefer 3 shot burst, and with the AK I prefer 2 shot burst. It just has to do with accuracy on the weapon. The 2 shot burst is almost more accurate, but a 3 shot burst can do some damage. So it depends on the distance, of course, but you see the 2 shots is always accurate. An extended burst is 5 or more shots where you just keep hammering the same targets. With an extended spray being almost emptying your magazine. So as you play more, you get a feel of how to properly when to burst, when to do an extended burst, and when to spray, and also how to hit your target with a spray. And we're going to touch on the myths about aim. One of the oldest myths that, and I see why people can can tell you those things is one of the oldest myths is aim at the legs while spraying. If you're gonna spray at someone, aim at their legs. It's because it's easier to tell a noob, a fresh player, to just aim at his legs, and you'll hit the body. That's okay enough. But if this target is at B and you aim at his legs, you're gonna miss. And you should be able to. Often is a lot of advantages of spraying if they are. Let's say you are coming from catwalk or whatever. You just run down. You know they are out. They are coming out of the tunnel, and you want to do damage to them as they cross over here. Of course, you don't have the reaction time to hit them as they go over here. But if you know that they are coming out of the tunnel, you might want to spray the door, for instance. Not that you will get any kills, but you might do some damage. So there are circumstances where you might want to spray at a distance, where aiming at the feet just won't do it. And this is where the feel comes in, that you know how far down you have to drag your weapon to, or your crosshair to compensate for the recoil of the gun. And this is of course individual from gun to gun. You'll have to practice with at least both the M4 and the AK. The MP7 doesn't have all that much recoil. It's fairly easy to control, at least when you're used to the AK spray. Another myth, which was true until a few weeks ago in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, was that spray is unpredictable. It used to be, until they released an update a few weeks ago that made spray 100% predictable, meaning that I'm not touching my mouse now. That pattern that you see there, that pattern will be that pattern every single time. So basically, this is how much you have to drag your crosshair down and to the sides in order to. A perfect spray should just hit that spot every single time. I'm not able to do it now. I haven't played enough to get the feel, and I highly doubt you are able to. But if you can stay, let's just give you a box. If you can stay within that box from a certain distance, that's pretty good. And that's good enough, because if somebody comes crosshair, you just have to lay a few on them, and you know that if you meet 5 people here, they're gonna run on more or less a line. So a well-placed spray here can give you a quick and nice ace to upload to YouTube and whatnot. The last one was actually spray doesn't work on distances. Spray does work on distances, but of course the margins are much smaller, because 1 pixel at pit doesn't equal 1 pixel from here. So you actually have to be more accurate and be a better sprayer. And lastly, it's the method on how to train to get better aim. Basically what this video is about. But you kind of got to know what aim consists of in order to know how to get better aim. Basically, it's simple as hell. You gotta play deathmatch, and it's not enough to just play deathmatch. A lot of people have a habit of pulling up the scoreboards. Let's say they're running, nothing here, running, pulling up the scoreboard, watching here, pulling up the scoreboard again. Doesn't work. That's a really bad habit, people. So what you should do, you should make a config file. Just name it like deathmatch.cfg, where you unbind tab, or you just clear from your key bindings wherever. And in Counter-Strike Source, you would previously be able to hide all all of your HUD, so that you didn't know how much HP you had. You you couldn't see the radar, you couldn't see the text, anything. Unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, you can't do that in Global Offensive. If any one of you do, please let me know in the comments, and I'll just upload it to something, and I'll share it in the description. But as far as I know, there's no possibility of doing that, because you just want to be focused on the feel of how much damage you did. You want to know how much damage you did on your target from the body shots you hit without knowing. You want to intuitively know how much damage you did, so that you can tell anyone, I did approximately 50 damage, so he's low. You can like, oh, I hit him with 3 shots. You don't have to use the AWP, you can just use your P250 or whatever. And this is vital information, because a lot of times the AWPer is going to try to get him on a one shot with an AWP, and if this guy has 15 HP, there's no need for that. But a lot of times they don't know that information, because you or someone else didn't give them that information, and actually they end up often missing that shot from close distance and dying, because they didn't know that the guy they were trying to kill had 15 HP, and they could have used whichever weapon they wanted, and they would have gotten a kill. So that's really important. Now the method you use when practicing deathmatch is, and you're gonna have to swallow your pride here a bit, guys. You can't care about your score. You cannot care about your score. It doesn't matter how many kills, how many deaths you have. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter one bit. It doesn't matter if the same guy kills you over and over and over. Doesn't matter. And this was where removing the HUD was really useful in the old days, because you didn't know who killed you, aka you didn't have a nemesis, someone to get revenge on, to distract you from what you really were there to do. What you really want to do is, every time you play deathmatch, and I recommend for the intensive period, which is 2 to 3 weeks, you play 1 hour deathmatch per day. And when you play deathmatch, you want to think every single kill has to be a headshot. Meaning that, and don't guess, don't like, if you see someone running towards here, you go like, I hope I get the headshot. You don't want to do that. You won't get better aim from that. You have to actually move the cursor, be 100% sure that you're getting a headshot every single time. You have to be 100% sure, because in the start you're gonna be like, come on, God, you're gonna be using a little bit of time. But as you progress and you like get to the end of your first hour of deathmatch, you're gonna be like, okay, this is going actually pretty good. And then as you go on and on, you're like, this is second nature now. Of course you want to be trying always to get the headshot, that's not what I'm saying, but there's a difference between trying to get a headshot and making sure that you're getting the headshot, which is actually what you want to do. So bearing that in mind, make sure that you get the headshots and keep doing 1 hour each day, excluding Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It doesn't have to be every day, but try to, when you play deathmatch, play at least one hour a day. And usually what I start with is the Deagle or the P250, just because you can't spray. There's just one shot. So you have to aim for the head, otherwise you are you're in for it. So bearing that in mind, go out and practice these things. For me and for my teammates and all the people I played with over the years, this has worked fantastically. Let me know if it works for you in the comments. Feel feel free to share it or subscribe, and there's more weekly videos coming. Until next time. And I'll actually have to shut this thing down. Toodles!